Hello everyone, welcome to Optimistic Mystic Mind. So I've been prompted to actually do this. I got an email. It was like a long, drawn out email by an acquaintance of mine, and so I gotta say this because it was annoying. I already had this little chat on Facebook, whatever. Pretty much, and he's a cool guy. So I'm not gonna unfriend anybody if they're a Trump supporter or a Hillary supporter, but there are limits. So I got this email, and it was talking about reasons to vote for Trump and pretty much, quote unquote, why protest votes are a waste. According to dictionary.com here, a protest vote is defined as a ballot cast for a candidate with a minimum chance of winning to register dislike for the other candidates. I've gone further to look at wikipedia.com, and pretty much describes it as, anybody that votes in a way that disfavors the major party candidates. And I'm not sure who wrote that. I mean, was that you, Fox? Did you write that? CNN? Anyways, so this definition actually pretty recent. It's like 1975 origin of the word protest vote. I want you to think about that for a second. Now, what if, let's just say, well, in Bernie Sanders' favor, actually, I think he would have won the election. I'm pretty sure he would have won the election over both Hillary and Trump. And but people would still say, oh, that's a protest vote. But he had a very good chance of winning. He just started a little too late. Think about that for a second. But the other thing was, the corporate media was really coming strong, and in fact, the same way they're treating any third party candidate now is they won't even acknowledge that there is another party. That's how it is. That's how they treated Bernie Sanders. That's how they treated Ron Paul. Any other candidate that runs up against Democrats or Republicans, it's like they're scared to even say there is another party. Okay, if anybody knows me or has known me for the last few years, you know my views on the blue and red party, as we call which have been the two major parties that have pretty much ruled the United States, with the exception of probably one other, but it was like way back in the day. And I've even been hearing and reading about Abraham Lincoln actually being a third party candidate. I have to do research on that, but anyways, yeah, do your homework. Most important. So anyways, got this long drawn out. I didn't even read it. I didn't finish the email because I already knew what it was about. I skimmed it over. I was like, dude, come on now. We've already had this chat. Basically, he was telling me, in this whole drawn out email, that my quote unquote protest vote was a waste. Which is pretty much what corporate media has been pushing for decades. Any vote that's not for the two major parties is a waste. This is what they're saying. This is what they've been saying for a long time. I'm annoyed by this and frustrated because look at what we have. We have a clown and a corrupt politician for these two parties. The only thing I can give Trump is the fact that his own party doesn't like him. And that's it. Maybe a cutthroat business person, but ethically, not really a big supporter. He wrote some good personal development books. has a school, university for, building yourself. That's about it. However, you have to judge a person by their actions, their character, what they do. What is it that they're showing everyone? And if this is what we see from both Trump and Hillary, for example, I'm not going to vote for them. Neither one of them. Neither one of them have my vote. Now, you can vote for whoever you want. I'm just putting my opinion out there, just laying it out there for everybody to know my opinion. Because your opinion counts. Now, I've gone back and forth whether I believe in this whole electoral process. I want to believe in it. I want to believe that my vote counts for something. Because if it doesn't, what is the point? That's all I really want to say. But my biggest point, the whole reason I've made this video is because I just want to say this. If you're voting a third party, Gary Johnson, Jill Stein for the Green Party, Gary Johnson, of course, for the Libertarian Party, you can vote for whoever you want, okay? Now, depends on the state, but there are going to be a certain amount of people on the ballot for each state. Gary Johnson's on the ballot for every state. Jill Stein, I believe she's on 30 plus states, maybe even 45 of them. Anyway, if everybody voted for her, she would have more than enough electoral votes for the Electoral College. That's pretty much what she was going for. I've been following both of those candidates. I'm happy with both of them now. I'm leaning more towards Gary Johnson because I believe in liberty. I believe in less government. Now, some people think it's crazy to legalize drugs and all that stuff, but there's a valid reason for those things. That's just an example. Jill Stein, if you go Jill Stein route, she's more like green. And that's great. They're both great candidates if you think about it. If you look at their platforms and what they stand for, they're great. My biggest issue with this election is we have both a clown and a corrupt politician that should be in jail. As even Trump said, she should be in jail. You've heard the stories. Pretty sure you've seen the news, Facebook, whatever. Let me put it this way. Let me break it down for you. The last presidential debate, this last one last week, I read an article. They lost 25% viewership from the last presidential debate. And why do you think that is? Now, I'll tell you, nobody, well, there's a few. And I have a few friends that are kind of like leaning towards one or the other. And most of the people I know and most of my friends, we have a consensus where we just don't like either of the candidates, the major ones. I mean, what do you say to that? And this is why there's a video online. Look it up. I'm gonna post a link below if I can find it. I know I can find it. Look this up. Abraham Lincoln actually warned against this sort of thing. It's like if you got two major parties, basically you have a duopoly. They've controlled the two halves, two major parties in the country for many years. Many years. And so right now, we don't have any competition when it comes to those parties. Or they could be rigged. Now, not rigged in a conventional sense, like, oh, we're just going to pick a guy or a female. Rigged in the sense that you think you have a choice, but we're going to give you a choice. If you ever watched The Matrix, you'll know what I mean. Anyway, my whole point is, if you're voting third party, Gary Johnson for the Libertarian Party, Jill Stein for the Green Party, it's not a protest vote. It's a vote. Don't believe what the corporate media says about your vote. Because Gary Johnson's goal, actually, if you look at his goal right now, I mean, realistically, he may not get most states because they lean either blue or red. He's going for electoral college, which is another part of the electoral system that's kind of like jacked up. Because if you got most people voting for a person, why doesn't that person get in? This is like Al Gore Bush in Florida. You're gonna have to read up on that. I remember that vividly, what happened, and it they didn't figure that out until the very next year, and then they finally voted Bush in there. Thank you, Fox. Anyways, your vote is not a protest vote. Don't believe the corporate media, because they will say anything. They will say anything because they are backed by the same two parties they've always been backed by for the longest time. And I'm telling you this. If you don't believe me, keep your eyes open. But you gotta wake up. Wake up, America. It's gonna be a wild ride. But I really hope that Gary Johnson can pull off his strategy. His strategy is basically, and I had to read up on this, and this hasn't happened for many years, but if neither one of the two major candidates can gather enough electoral points, there's points. If neither of them get the points, then I think it's Congress or somebody, I believe it's Congress, or it could be the Senate. Anyway, look it up. But they have to actually come to a consensus and vote on a candidate themselves. It's almost like Parliament. The people don't vote for the Prime Minister. I think that's right. At least not in the UK. They don't vote directly for the Prime Minister. They actually vote for party members for Parliament. And Parliament votes for the Prime Minister. I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So it would be kind of like that. So it kind of resorts to a parliamentary system. Well, we the people, we vote for the candidates we feel that should be in office, that should be able to lead our country. But if they don't get enough points in electoral college, then Congress, I think it's Congress. Look that up, fact check it. It's a big word, this coming election, fact check. Anyways, so my vote is not a protest vote for whoever think I'm wasting my vote. Nothing personal. We'll still be friends. That's my belief. It's a fact. It's true. Now, whether you believe it's a protest vote or not is on you. But I don't. It's not a protest vote. It's a vote. Vote for common sense. A vote for common sense, guys. Look at what we have. That's what happens when you have a duopoly. You have no competition. You get stagnant. Think about two companies that stay in business for years and kind of like they go back and forth. You know, they may come out with a product every now and then, and every now and then they'll come with a stellar like Apple versus Microsoft. But just imagine if just those two companies existed and nothing else. And they did for a while, actually, with computers. It's debatable who had the better computer, but I will tell you up front, Apple had the better computer. Microsoft was good at coming out with a computer for everyone. This is true. But Apple, they had a specific audience in mind. Anyways, keep that in mind the next time you go. Well, we're all going to be voting soon, I hope. I hope you register to vote, because I think last week was the last week to do it. I registered like months ago. So, if your state is done, then you're done, and you're just going to have to wait for the next time if you didn't register to vote. And one other thing, being that I do believe in this election process somewhat, if you don't vote, it's still a vote. There are people that say, well, why didn't you vote? Or you don't have a voice. Now, there's also, I just thought about this. If you vote for a candidate you truly didn't believe in, you can't talk. You don't have a voice anymore, because guess what? You voted for the candidate that you thought was, and that's fine. If you vote for a candidate and you firmly stand behind that candidate, I'm all for you. Kudos. But if you voted for a candidate just to vote somebody else out, well, you don't really have a voice, man. That's all I'm saying. You can't be like, oh, well, that's a protest vote or whatever. If I sit here and tell you today that I'm gonna vote for Hillary, I'm firmly stand behind her, what does that say about me? I don't know. Or if I say I want to vote for Trump, what does it say about me? It does tell a story, believe it or not. It tells a story. Look, this is not rocket science. Now, let's put it this way. And don't always believe the polls, because who's taking the polls? When was the last time you signed up for a poll? I'll wait for you to think about that for a second. I haven't. However, these numbers come out and they're like, well, such and such has this amount, this percentage, and blah, blah, blah has this percentage. And where are they getting these numbers from? Nobody called me. I didn't get an email. So, again, just me, for example, I'm left out of the loop. I wonder how many people are left out of the loop on this polling. Anyways, vote for who you believe in. If you believe in Hillary or Trump, go for it. That's more better than not believing in somebody you vote for. Now, I may not stand behind them, but hey, I respect your vote. I respect you as a person. But if you're gonna come at me and tell me that my vote doesn't count because I'm voting for somebody else, we got problems, we got issues, because that's not true. Because I believe in the person I'm voting for, believe it or not. That's all I'm saying. My 2 cents. Thanks for coming, everyone. Be sure to follow, share, and comment below if you got any comments. I don't mind. I'm not a very big political person here, but this election, I've gotten stronger in that skill. Let's put it that way. I'm telling you what, when I go to other countries, I went to Australia last year, and somebody asked me this question. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what we have. That's all I got to say anyways. Thanks. Stay tuned for the next cast. It's coming, baby. Cheers. We're at a point here, man. To be honest, love him or hate him, if Obama was going up for a third term, I would vote for him. No, I didn't vote for him the second time, but I did the first time. Hey, man, that's all I'm saying. Obama's cool though. He's a cool president for the most part. Like I say, I mean, I'll be perfect. There's no perfect. Nobody's perfect. But overall, I think the dude did a good job. That's all I'm saying.